Number 1. A wrong turn that started World War I. At the center of it all is Austria-Hungary, which is a hilariously unstable empire holding together a bunch of ethnic groups who all want different things. And then in June of that year, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, decided to visit Bosnia. Austria-Hungary had taken over the country, and the locals weren't thrilled about that. Enter Gavrilo Princip, a 19-year-old Serbian nationalist who's part of a group called the Black Hand, a rebel group targeting the Austro-Hungarian rulers. He and his buddies wanted Bosnia to join Serbia, so they decided to assassinate Franz Ferdinand. The assassination itself, however, was a complete clown show. First, one guy throws a grenade, but it bounces off the car and explodes under the car behind Ferdinand's. He then panics, swallows his cyanide pill, and jumps into the river, only for the pill to fail and the river to be ankle deep. So now he's vomiting and waiting to be arrested, while Franz Ferdinand, miraculously unharmed, continues his day like nothing happened. Then another member of the Black Hand tries to shoot Franz Ferdinand and fails yet again. But here's where the universe pulls the dumbest move in history. Later that day, Franz Ferdinand decides to visit a hospital to see the people injured in the earlier bombing attempt. His driver, however, takes a wrong turn and drives right in front of Gavrilo Princip, who just so happens to be sitting inside a cafe, sulking over his failed assassination attempt. And that's when Princip seizes the moment, pulls out his gun, and shoots both Franz Ferdinand and his wife. What happens next? Well, this one bullet sets off a chain reaction that plunges the entire world into World War I. And because World War I happened, World War II happened. And because World War II happened, the Cold War happened. So yeah, most of our modern wars basically existed because some guy took a wrong turn in 1914. Number 2. A Roman soldier showed his ass and caused the Jewish-Roman War. Ancient Romans loved conquering places, and one of the places they conquered was Judea, modern-day Israel, and Palestine. Now, the Jewish people weren't exactly thrilled about being ruled by Rome. In 66 AD, during Passover, a group of Jews gathered at the temple in Jerusalem, their most sacred site. A Roman soldier, feeling particularly mischievous or just plain stupid, drops his pants and moves the crowd. But wait, he doesn't stop there. This guy starts farting at them and making crude gestures. And as it turns out, when you moon an already pissed-off religious community in the most sacred place imaginable, things escalate fast. The Jewish crowd erupts in anger, riots break out, and the Roman authorities violently suppress them. This sparks the First Jewish-Roman War, which lasts for 4 years and ends with the Romans destroying the Second Temple in 70 AD, one of the most devastating moments in Jewish history. This war also led to the mass scattering of Jewish communities across the Roman Empire, influencing Jewish history for centuries. So yeah, one dude's bare ass indirectly caused one of the most significant religious and cultural shifts in world history. Number 3. Gin and tonic was invented as a cure for malaria. British soldiers were stationed in India in the 19th century, and they had a bit of a problem. And no, it's not colonial guilt, it's malaria. Back then, the only known way to fight malaria was quinine, a bitter compound found in tree bark that could help prevent the disease. The problem? Quinine tastes like absolute garbage. Enter the greatest life hack in military history. British officers realized that if you mix quinine with soda water, it becomes tonic water. Then, because they're British and constantly looking for an excuse to drink, they add gin to make it taste better. And just like that, the gin and tonic is born. Not only does this help British soldiers fight malaria, but it also becomes so popular that it spreads across the world as a classic cocktail. And today, people drink gin and tonics without even realizing they're technically consuming a 19th century anti-malaria remedy. Number 4. Prohibition led to the creation of NASCAR. Back in the 1920s, the US government thought, hey, you know what would be fun? Banning alcohol. So in 1920, Prohibition began. And as you might expect, Americans did not suddenly become a nation of responsible tea-sipping monks. Instead, the illegal booze industry exploded. Enter the bootleggers, a group of highly motivated individuals who were in the business of smuggling illegal alcohol across the country. But, as you can imagine, this was not as simple as running a lemonade stand. Bootleggers had to constantly outrun the cops, often speeding over bad streets through swamps and mountains. So how did they do it? by modifying their cars, faster engines, reinforced suspensions, hidden compartments for liquor. Even after Prohibition ended in 1933, these guys didn't stop racing. They had already built some of the fastest cars in the country, so they figured, hey, why not race each other for fun? Hey, why not race in front of people for money? Hey, why not just turn this into an official sport? And so, in 1948, NASCAR was born. The same organization that brought us Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, and a million rednecks screaming about left turns only exists because of illegal booze. Number 5. A monkey bite helped spark the Greco-Turkish War. You've heard of wars starting over land disputes, assassinations, and political tensions, but have you ever heard of one starting because a monkey got a little too bitey? King Alexander I of Greece was chilling at his summer palace when, out of nowhere, one of his pet monkeys got into a fight with another monkey, and like a responsible pet owner, the king decided to break up the fight. Now, anyone who's ever owned a cat or a dog knows this is already a bad idea. But a monkey? That's just asking for trouble. And sure enough, one of the monkeys bit him, and this monkey bite got bad. Infection set in, and doctors at the time weren't exactly the best at treating things. Antibiotics weren't really a thing yet, so they probably tried to fix him with some good old-fashioned leeches and prayers. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. 3 weeks later, King Alexander died from sepsis. Now, here's where things go completely off the rails. After his death, the Greek government started panicking about who should rule next, and before anyone could figure it out, Greece and Turkey were at war. This eventually led to the Greco-Turkish War, a conflict that left hundreds of thousands dead and resulted in a massive population exchange between the two nations. To put this in perspective, imagine if World War III started because President Trump got rabies from an angry beaver. That's basically what happened here. Number 6. The Spanish Civil War led to the creation of M&Ms. Back in the late 1930s, Spain was having a bit of a rough time. Soldiers were out there fighting, and as it turns out, war zones are not ideal places to store chocolate. See, normal chocolate melts, and when you're a soldier, you don't have time to worry about your Hershey bar turning into a hot mess in your pocket. But some Spanish soldiers had a solution. They were eating little chocolate pellets covered in a hard sugar shell, which kept the chocolate from melting. This brilliant innovation caught the attention of Forrest Mars, an American businessman who was conveniently the son of the guy who made the Milky Way bar. He had parted ways with his successful father and was traveling around for inspiration. Mars saw these melting-resistant chocolates and thought, oh, hell yeah, that's $1 million idea. So he stole the concept, brought it back to the US, and in 1941 he partnered with Bruce Meary, son of Hershey's president, to launch the new candy. The name comes from their last initials, Mars and Mary. And since World War II was starting, the US military was like, wait, chocolate that won't turn into a puddle in a soldier's pocket? We need that. So, M&Ms literally became military rations. American soldiers got addicted, and once the war ended, Mars was like, screw it, let's sell this to everyone. Thanks for watching. See the video on your screen? Well, YouTube thinks this one might interest you as well, so go ahead and check it out if you like.